this is about to be some Ivy League tea. At the end of the day, this is a competition. If you don't do that, you can throw your essay in the garbage. I promise you, because they will. School activities are great, but not as great as community impact passion projects. Guys, in America, colleges are obsessed with diversity. Merry Christmas, honeys. I am finally doing it. Hi, everyone. My name is Kelsey. I graduated from Harvard in 2021 after getting into every single college that I applied to, and now I'm helping you do the same thing. And today I'm doing something that I literally never thought that I would do, but I've always secretly wanted to do for you, which is read my common application essay that got me into literally all of these schools. Like you might have seen in my intro video, which if you haven't seen that, go watch that before this because it will make a lot more sense. I was actually inspired back in 2016 to apply to Harvard because of a certain YouTuber who was at Harvard and read her Common App essay. And so I want to pass on that same torch. And hopefully, if you are an ambitious middle schooler or high schooler watching this right now, this inspires you to hit pen to paper, hit fingers to keyboards, and just write an essay because it's actually not rocket science. It actually does not have to be Shakespeare. It just has to have some very strategic elements to it that make it a Ivy League or elite college worthy admissions essay. And that's what we're doing today. Not only am I going to read this essay to you, but I'm also going to break it down to her basic bare bones to show you why I did what I did and why I think it was so successful in wooing the Harvard, Duke, Vanderbilt, Dartmouth, Cornell, and all the other admissions committees. So, my Harvard honeys, grab a pen, grab some paper, grab your favorite mug, because this is about to be some Ivy League tea. All right, before we get into the essay, let me give you just a little bit of context. I dug really deep into everything I had ever done in high school and wrote them down as possible essay topics for years before I actually applied to college. And this really helped when it came to admissions season because I had an entire log on my notes app of possible essay topics. In fact, what I put in my Common App essay was something that I did the summer before my freshman year of high school, which means that you might have already done the thing that you can write about for your college admissions essay. Anything before the summer before high school is a little bit off the table. They don't really want to hear about things you did in middle school, unfortunately. Sad as someone who definitely peaked in middle school, but summer before kind of counts as freshman year. I figured that it would be okay, and it was. The other important thing I want you to notice when I read this essay is that I am writing about a tangible accomplishment that I did, an anecdote of something impressive that not many other 15-year-olds had done before. And that, I think, is one big reason why this worked. It wasn't all about my family. It wasn't all about my childhood. I think so many people write about their family and their childhood thinking that it's profound, thinking that it's going to differentiate them, and it doesn't. I promise you, even if you had a weird upbringing, it's probably not going to be something they haven't heard before. So I would focus it on tangible accomplishments. Another thing about this essay is I literally wrote it in about 2 hours, a couple weeks before it was due, and didn't have much editing process. I let my parents edit it. I let my English teacher edit it, and then I was basically done. Now, this is one thing that I don't highly recommend that you do. I think having more eyes on your essay is always positive. And if I were to do it again, I would 100% get a actual Harvard student or a student admitted to your dream school to read it over and make sure that it was the quality of the essay that they submitted. So, little plug for my coaching. I'm happy to read your essay and work through it with you if you're seeing this before your admissions deadline. That's literally what I've been doing all day, every day. If anyone was wondering, is reviewing people's essays with them. I actually really love it. So hit me up. All right, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, honeys and future Harvardians, here I present to you my Common App essay that got me in to Harvard and a bunch of other schools. Music is unifying. It is the crisp brilliance of sound as a bow leaves the strings of a violin, no matter who is operating it. I had the opportunity to experience this quality of music while working as a volunteer in the community of Clarkston, Georgia, the primary U.S. city targeted since 2008 to harbor refugees from all over the world. world. Ethiopia, Jordan, Burma, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Kenya, and the United States, of course, were all represented that day in one of our 4 stifling rooms on the 3rd floor of a squalid building that comprised Proskeneo School of the Arts. In the midst of the chaos on the first day that semester, arguably the smallest boy in the room approached Mr. Fadi, a director, to ask if he could take the violin class that his sister had taken at the school just a year earlier. Fadi reluctantly replied, "I'm so sorry, but we have no teacher for that class anymore." Clearly, the question continued to weigh heavily on his mind because after the students had left, Fadi asked the volunteers if anyone happened to be adept at the violin. Doubtful, he soon turned to leave the room. "I have played for about 11 years now," I nearly whispered from my chair in the back. My hesitation stemmed from my apprehension of the following question: who was I to teach a violin class? I was 15. My response initiated a series of events, including a small audition where I apparently convinced the directors of my capability on the instrument, and after that, I was asked to become the head of violin at the school. I agreed, not knowing exactly what I had signed up for. The following weeks were terrifying, but among the most fascinating of my life. I began by writing an 8-week curriculum for students I didn't even know yet. Once I did meet my students, I saw that the challenge I had foreseen was about to become even more challenging. Aged 6 to 26, which, by the way, was the title of this essay, 6 to 26, originating from thousands of miles apart and having a vast variety of musical backgrounds, my students were quite the medley. The paradox between being 15 and having a college-aged assistant, in addition to 2 students in their 20s, was intimidating. I didn't feel qualified, but at the same time, I felt more qualified than anyone else. Communication occurred almost exclusively through music. I would teach a new note by writing the name and playing it on my violin, and they would imitate. Rarely were the names of the pieces or the notes spoken accurately, but any incorrect pitch was always detected and self-corrected. Throughout these weeks of teaching, I had the opportunity to personally discover that music is indeed a universal language. We didn't all speak the same tongue, but through music, everyone understood. Music forgoes the obstructions of language present due to heritage or ethnicity. At the same time, in this bizarre, wonderful environment, my eagerness to solve problems was fostered. Problems seemed to arise constantly. How could I teach musical scales to students who didn't know the English alphabet? How could I engineer a makeshift shoulder rest for students of such different sizes and shapes? I thrived because of these questions. Had I never been able to teach and serve at Proskeneo School of the Arts, I may never have had the confidence to compete and win 3 major solo violin competitions throughout the rest of high school. I may never have developed the patience and the will to travel to Jamaica and continue to teach. More importantly, I may never have discovered my dream of one day providing medical technology to those same countries. This teaching experience allowed me to form such an appreciation of differences and to see firsthand how diversity in talents and abilities can combine to allow a group of people to maximize their potential. Yay! I did it. All right, there it is, my entire Common Application essay that I submitted to all of my schools. And guys, let me tell you, I understand that this is not Shakespeare. This was not the best essay that I have ever written, and this is not the best essay that I had ever written up until that point. It's just an essay, but it worked. And y'all, I'm here to tell you why it worked. And if you incorporate these 5 things into your Common App essay, your odds of admission are going to go sky high. Number 1, my hook. Guys, my hook was, again, not Shakespeare, not brilliant, but you know what it did? It lowered the activation energy for them to get into your essay. These people are bored. These people are reading thousands of essays a week. You need to make it very easy for them to get interested in what you're saying. If you use big words and long sentences at the very beginning, you will lose them. They will throw your essay into the garbage. I promise. So what did I say? I said, music is unifying. period. First sentence, they're already involved, and it's been 3 words. It is the crisp brilliance of sound as a bow leaves the strings of a violin, no matter who is operating it. Gives a little mystery, gives some good context, makes them need to know what happens next. What do you mean, who's operating it? What do you mean it's unifying? Who are you unifying? Like, there are questions there. Not brilliant, but there are questions, and it is eloquent, but short and sweet. That's what makes a good hook. Second thing, there was a motif. Motifs, guys, if you don't remember from English class, are recurring themes that keep showing up throughout an entire essay. For me, it was music being a universal language, okay? I started it with that. I had it throughout the essay, this idea of music being like a language. But did you notice that motif was not the point of the essay? It wasn't the coolest thing of the essay. It was just a nice little bow to wrap around all of it and tie it all together. I see a lot of you guys using motifs as like the biggest cool thing in your essay, thinking you are profound, thinking you are Shakespeare, when you're not, when it's a very empty essay otherwise. Please use a motif, but do not let it overpower. Just let it hint throughout the essay that, oh, we're still in the same story. We're still talking about the same thing. It can cleverly tie together the beginning and the end, but don't let it be the star of the show. Number 3 is what should be the star of the show, which is a tangible accomplishment that you completed as a high schooler that you have never heard of any other high schooler completing. Okay, you guys, at the end of the day, this is a competition. You need to show why you are better than the person that they are reading before you and the person they're about to read after you. And if you don't do that, you can throw your essay in the garbage. I promise you, because they will. So I chose something that I thought would be unique that no other girl my age had done that tangibly impacted other people in my community, okay? School activities are great, but not as great as community impact passion projects. Number 4, I even went harder with this and infused what I call gold nuggets of other tangible accomplishments within the end of the essay. I said that this gave me the confidence to go and continue to teach in Jamaica and then also to win 3 major solo violin competitions. Do you see how I tied in and I drug in, even if it was a little bit unnatural, other things that would make them say, whoa, this girl is Harvard material. Whoa, this girl is Duke material, etc. Number 5, and something that we get into deeply in my Instagram and in my TikTok, is diversity. Guys, in America, colleges are obsessed with diversity. You need to show that you either have some personal diversity or thrive in diverse environments, because at the end of the day, that is what college is. It is an extremely diverse environment. It is a lot of people that are nothing like you, especially if you're like me and came from a little town in the South. Like, I was around people who did not speak my language at Harvard, who did not have my culture at Harvard, and I had to be able to thrive in that and enjoy that. So what I showed with this essay is that I thrive in diverse environments. That was the entire point of why I chose this topic as my common application topic. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm thinking of posting my supplemental essays in another video and maybe walking you through what makes a solid supplemental essay, since a lot of people argue that those are actually more important than the Common App essay. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do that or any other video ideas that you have for me, and I will respond to you. And don't forget to subscribe, because next week we are getting into actual interviews with actual current Harvard students on why they think they actually got in. Until then, stay competitive. You got this. Good luck, honeys.